everybody, and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and I am excited today because I'm going to be talking about an issue that is very near and dear to my heart. Wine ratings, ? Here's the thing. Wine ratings. I forgot to take off the phone. You're quick. Wine ratings. What do they really mean? I mean, so many people, and I would say more than half of the wine consumers that I know, pretty much make all their decisions on wine ratings. And they've got their favorites, whether it's Robert Parker, Stephen Tanzer, The Wine Spectator, Gary Vaynerchuk. You know, whatever the favorite may be, they really go by it. And you know, I'm here to say that wine ratings are straight garbage. Now, I rate wines, and I give ratings, because I like to. But to make your decision based on that, I think is a monumental mistake. The first and foremost thing you need to do is trust your own palate, build your own palate, and stick to your guns. So what we're doing today is we're tasting 4 wines that all got rated extremely high and are not so hard on the Benjamins. You know, not that expensive. And so we'll really see what we think of them. But overall, these are just an example of wines with good scores. But my theme for today is wine ratings. You need to leave them. We need to let it alone. I mean, it's about time people trust their own palate, try different things. Here's my thing. When you go into a restaurant, people are always asking the sommelier for a recommendation with the food they're having. But do they ask the sommelier for a recommendation of what to eat? Or the chef? I mean, yeah, it happens occasionally. But I think this is the one category of consumption where people really take, you know, somebody else's word a little too far. I mean, do you go to the store to buy some bubble gum, and before you purchase the gum, look in the Bubblegum Spectator? Or more importantly, is there a guy who's a former lawyer out of, let's say, Maryland, that tells you what kind of tires to buy, or maybe the milk you want to have? Or, you know, yeah, I know Consumer Reports and things like that. And yeah, those are pretty powerful, but at least that's a conglomerate. I mean, we're talking about individual human beings, and human beings, and I don't know if you know this, are flawed. Like me, what if the Jets lost? Do you think on Mondays after the Jets losses, Chris, I got a huge thing for you. You need to check the scores after the Jets losses compared to the ones that weren't scored, or compared to the victories. They may be a little bit higher. The mood, the setting, I talk about this all the time. Or how about the personal relationship you have with the person that gave you the wine? I remember vividly a wine that I panned here on Wine Library TV, that when I was tasting the wine, these people had me in their home. They send me cookies. They are like my grandparents almost, you know, adopted grandparents. And while I was tasting wine, realizing, and you know the brain works fast. It's amazing, right? I was like, oh my God, I am going to dismantle this wine. And how horrible of a human being am I? You know, and if you don't think those factors come into the Robert Parkers, the Wine Spectators, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, blah, 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 they do. This is life. This is not perfect science. And so for us to see a wine get emailed out and sell 400 cases in a day because it got a 90, and then in theory, though they're different products, a similar product get emailed out with an 89-point score and sell 30 cases is mind-boggling. And it proves the power of score. Now, some people may say, Gary, why do you score wine then if you so much hate it? Well, I hate the conceptual concept. Does that mean anything? I hate the conceptual concept of people buying wine strictly on score. I selfishly like the score wine. I'm used to it. I grew up in the 100-point system, and it's a lot of fun. But for me to do it, because, you know, it's a gauge for me, for myself. I really don't want people to buy strictly on the wines I score high or anybody else, and vice versa. More importantly, I think it's important to have scores for one reason. It is somewhat of a gauge, and maybe you hate or like the person or know you like the Australian wines that Parker scores, but not his Spanish, and you like Spectator better for Spain. It is a gauge, and in this society, and don't blame me, society, but in this society, we don't read the tasting notes. We don't have the time. 90, good. You know, that's how we are. I mean, we don't read box scores anymore. We get everything instant message, text. I mean, it's a different society, so scores mean even more today. And ultimately, I guess that is unfortunate. And most importantly, we're not sheep. Think for your god-darn self. So, with that said, let's taste 4 90-plus scored wines. Here we go with wine number 1. Probably the wine I've been most interested in tasting in a very long time because this score was staggering. Provenance, 2005, Rutherford Estate, Sauvignon Blanc, $13 US, 94 3 points, Wine Spectator. Eric just made a big face like, wow. And this is a wow. This is one of the highest scored Sauvignon Blancs from California in a long time. I've been dissing California Sauvignon Blancs in the show, as many of you from California have been emailing me. I appreciate that. And I'm downright excited to try this wine. 93 points for 13 bucks for Sauvignon Blanc, which I love to drink that type of wine. Great with all foods, much more than Chardonnay for me. My opinion, not the general rule. But let's give this a whirl. Nice little, Sauvignon Blanc color, nothing crazy. Little fun tidbit, why I laughed. You could tell I wanted to taste this for myself and not the show. I didn't talk about the nose. I got right into it. Let's start over. All right, I can't even lie. I don't even like the wine that much. It's wild. Now it's all backwards. I already tasted it. I'm sorry I screwed this up. All right, let's go. But I have to give you the notes. On the nose, it's citrusy, a little melon peel coming through. An apricot aspect coming through as well. The nose is nice, but also marked and kind of harmed by a little bit of a awkward smoky asparagus flavor, which normally I would like, but something's kind of just not gelling. It's almost like two pieces of a puzzle. Together, pretty, but these are separate. Not so pretty. Some nice pineapple and kiwi flavors, but not the wine I really expected. Now, yeah, it's a little muted, a little too much honey for me. Nice bottle of wine. It's a very solid Sauvignon Blanc. Don't get me wrong, this is not garbage, but there is heat coming through. The alcohol is shooting through a little more than I'd like. 14.3% alcohol. High alcohol, and you can tell it's a little bit too over the top. I think that would bother a lot of people who are used to more integrated Sauvignon Blancs. Not as crisp and as clean as I like my Sauvignon Blancs from the Loire Valley, from New Zealand. I'm going to score this wine 88 points, which is a far distance from 93. I think it's worth 88. I think you may think I think it's worse. I think maybe my expectations were a little high. It's a nice bottle of Sauvignon Blanc, but definitely not life-changing. And I was really kind of downright excited for it because it's a huge score. But maybe you think it's a 93-point Sauvignon Blanc, so maybe you need to go and try it out. This is an intriguing wine. This is Marquis Phillips 2005 Holly's Blend. And this is very interesting. This is Holly's Blend. However, it is 100% Verdeo. Weird. But I know why. Their first vintage had some Sauvignon Blanc in it, and they've just kept the brand name. Holly is Sparky and Sarah Marquis' daughter. Great name. And Marquis Phillips, 2005, Holly's Blend. 90 points, Robert Parker. $8. 8 bones for Nye Parker is amazing. 100% Verdeo. Again, light color. These are crisp wines. These are aperitif wines. These are things to have with tuna tartare, with salmon crudo. Oysters come to mind. Always good for that. Light salads, crab meat, shrimp cocktail. Whatever you're in the mood for. Light little appetizer wines. Little petrol on the nose. Almost Riesling. Actually, it smells like a rubber bouncy ball. You know when you used to pay a quarter and you get the rubber bouncy balls? You would get the smell. I'm getting a little bit of that rubber. It's pretty wild. Really interesting. And now you put a glob of honey and coated that ball and then hit it. That's kind of what's coming through. So I'm getting the rubber aspect, little hints of petrol, and a good honey suckle kind of nose. $14.5 alcohol, no heat, integration, fruit. Rounded pear flavors, almost like a very sweet apricot flavor coming through as well, but subtle, so it's not sweet. More the essence of it. Dry, a little flinty. Good wine, also not killing me. By the way, Eric even said I'm in a great mood before I tape this episode, so it's not my mindset. I'm going to score this wine 87 points. It's nice, but it's extremely one-dimensional. Now, that dimension comes in a very interesting form. It's a bouncy ball with honey on it, so that's worth at least 85 of the points. And then 2 points for me being in a good mood. So 87 points in this wine. Nice wine. Well worth $8. You can't go wrong. Plus, a lot of you haven't had Verdeo, so this is a great entry-level opportunity to try this wine. It's widely available, but I can't really go crazy on it. But much better than a lot of... I mean, with that all being said, it's probably better than 95% of the wines that people buy in this category at the grocery store. Kendall Jackson, Behringer, Columbia Crest. I know I'm throwing a lot of great people under the bus. I'm not trying to, but it's definitely better than 90% of the supermarket brands. So, keep that in mind. Let's move on. Yardenberg, the Hermit Crab. Can't wait for Kahuna's comment on this. Viognier Marsanne blend, $12 US. And this is 90 points Parker, 70% Viognier, 30% Marsanne, Rhone varietals. One thing about Verdeo that I want to talk about, the grape originated in Portugal. I thought that'd be a fun tidbit for people to know, and is now pretty much spread out to the world, but we're really seeing a lot of it in Australia. They're really interesting wines, very aromatic, interesting, crisp, entry-level white wines that a lot of people should be seeking out. So whether it's Marquis Phillips or not, definitely try to seek out a Verdeo. The Yardenberg, the Hermit Crab, 70 Viognier, 30% Marsanne, 90 Parker, 12 bones, a little bit more golden, a little bit more exciting on the color. Wow. Peaches and cream comes to mind right away. I hate to admit this, but I remember my sister got a Barbie, and it was my sister, it wasn't me, but she had a Barbie called Peaches and Cream from the 80s. Smells like her. Not that I smelled Barbies or anything. Nice lemon peel, great zest, almost a grapefruity aspect coming through as well. Little hints of petrol as well. Classic white Rhone varietal smells. Nice. Real wine alert. Wow. I would tell you off the top of my head, I drink a lot of white Rhone wines. I love Condrieu. I'm a big fan of that varietal. It's very different. I love the pairing with fish, which I'm eating a lot of because of my high cholesterol lately, so I've had to go to this more often lately. This is a remarkable effort. This is the kind of wine that I'm very often paying $30 to $40 for in the Rhone. And for $12, Parker nailed this. I give him a lot of kudos for calling out on this because, it's a very different kind of wine. Wow. It's just real wine. I mean, it's completely well made. Great complexity. Perfect tannin structure. Very heavy. This is not a fruity, creamy, kind of fun little wine. This is not for the kids. Kids 21 and older. This is the kind of wine that you really sit down and you can analyze. I really almost wish that I wasn't here right now taping the show. This is the kind of wine I could really get into right now. It really caught me off guard. I kind of want to sit here and nerd with it a little bit. I call it nerding because it is nerding. But, you really want to get into it. I mean, there's so much going on. Even like dandelion kind of flavor coming through on the nose right now. Very complex. And I just want to eat something right now. I'm going to score this wine 91 points. I really like this wine. I would even say 91 plus to be more fair. Let's give it the plus. Now, you may think it's an 80, and you may think it's 100. But I say it's a 91 plus. I really like it. And more important, the first thing on my mind right now is what are those? Chicken pot pie? Yeah, that would be so radical right now. A chicken pot pie with this would be an amazing combination, a lot of fun, and a very low cost Epicurean meal. Let's move on. A red wine. Wow. Vina Alarba, Pago, San Miguel, 2002. Spanish wine, and this comes at you at $12 US, and it is 90 points Robert Parker, and it is a blend of 85% Old Vine Grenache, 15% Syrah. So I'm excited to try this wine, as I have been excited to try most wines. And let's see what's going on here. I'm really excited about this. $12, 90 Parker. Really nice color. Really dark, black, purple kind of colors coming through. Oof. Super pepper. I mean like white and black pepper, you know, kind of like you can build a little ant farm of it, you know, and just like put your finger in. It's real cool. It's like a volcano. Anyway, tons and tons of black and white pepper. And I can't get anything else. I mean, this is so pepperfied. It's like, sir, would you like some fresh grounded pepper? Yes, sir. Sir, sir, can you... That much ground pepper. Like the guy couldn't hear out of the ear that he was next to. You know, he's deaf in the left ear, the waiter. And you're like, sir, no. And now you've got a pepper farm on your meal. That's what this wine is kind of doing. It's... But I like pepper, so I'm into it so far. Let's see what's going on. Good body, great structure, a lot of flavor coming through, great tannins, very firm grip. I like the mid palate, really dark cherry coming through. I'm getting a little cedar box, hints of tobacco, and a very obvious kind of broccoli aspect coming through. Very green, vegetal, mid to finish, then finishes strong again with fruit, blackberry, cherry, even a hint of plum, which we don't see a lot. We don't talk about plum often, but I'm feeling a little bit of plum. Long finish. Now the negatives. A little bit off balance. The heat's coming through a little bit on the beginning portion. It's a well-made wine. However, given the competition in the category, there's a lot of Spanish wines these days between $8 and $12 that bring this kind of thunder to the table. So it's not an amazing QPR. It doesn't stand out to me. I think it's an 89-point wine, 88 plus in that range. Let's go 89 because I don't want to screw up Chris. So I think it's a very good wine for $12. Didn't blow me away. Not what I would consider a 90-point wine. All that being said, you may find all of these wines 10 or 20 points or 100 points. Remember, it's up to you. But I hope I kind of, broke some of those down. Now, so, question of the day and a shout out for me. Need your help. Let's go with the question of the day first. Question of the day. Wine basket or wine making kit? Which would you rather get as a gift? Maybe I'm giving out gifts. Maybe I'm the new Oprah. Wine basket, wine making kit. And I need your help. It is the American Wine Blog Awards. I need your vote. Press the link over here. You know why? Because you, with a little bit of me, we're changing the wine world, aren't we?